Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel for another midweek mystery video. Today I've got a really strange story for you that gets requested all the time, but honestly I've never covered it because I know it's going to be quite a short video and we all know that I love a longer video on this channel. But every so often it's actually good for me to cover something shorter, something easier, so I can get ahead of my work a little bit, keep on top of my video schedule. I do like to be ahead of uploading all the time, like most videos you see from me were filmed 2 weeks beforehand and researched even longer before that. I'm an organised gal. But I've had a lot going on in my personal life recently, that's a whole thing, and as a result I've fallen behind, so no better time for a shorter video. I don't know why I feel the need to justify it, but I do because it's the internet and you need to justify everything, so here we go. And plus I have a sponsor for this video, so what better time to talk about the weird phenomenon of dogs committing suicide off the Overtoun Bridge. This video is kindly sponsored by Skillshare. As somebody who absolutely loves learning and education, I think Skillshare is one of the best things on the internet. It's an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and curious people. You can educate yourself, explore new skills, develop existing interests and get lost in your own creativity. Each month I like to recommend a class that you should try, and this month we have Simple Productivity, How to Accomplish More with Less by Greg McKeown. He's a best-selling author and speaker who's honed a brand new approach to productivity that he calls essentialism, focusing on quality instead of quantity. If you're anything like me, then I know so many of you are going to be stuck at home, worrying about the state of the world, but also feeling guilty for not being as productive as possible in this time. But we really can't do everything, especially in such a tumultuous world. Greg's class will teach you how to stop worrying about getting everything done all the time, how to focus in on the important things in life. The world is scary right now, and I know that everyone's unsure about what's coming next, but there's no better time just to take some time out if you can. Draw, write, do some journaling, manage your stress through your own creativity. Creative challenges and productivity classes can be a great way to not only keep you distracted, but also help you structure your time. And you can also connect with the support of fellow creative individuals. So whether you're looking to fend off boredom, focus on self-care through creativity, or just join a creative community, Skillshare is the place to keep you learning. Skillshare is giving away 2 free months of premium membership to the first 1,000 people who click the link in the description box to help you explore your creativity. And then after that, it's only around $10, about £7 or £8 a month. So, the Overtoun Bridge is a Category B listed structure on the approach road to Overton House near Dumbarton in Scotland. As far as bridges go, it's a very grand looking bridge. It was completed in 1895 and spans a deep 50-foot ravine with nothing but rocks at the bottom. You'd probably just look at it and think it was a normal bridge because, you know, most bridges are just normal bridges. Except since the 50s, for some reason, dogs have been leaping off this bridge and plummeting to their deaths. It's not exactly sure how many dogs have died on this bridge, but it's certainly been enough that the locals and the media have picked up on it. The story gained prominence in 2006 when none other than the Daily Mail wrote an article about it, and since then it's become a thing of folklore, I suppose, but also it's very true. One article I read cited that over 600 dogs have hurled themselves off this bridge. And now at either end of the bridge there's actually a warning sign that reads, "Dangerous bridge, keep your dogs on a lead." This same article said that while 600 have jumped, only about 50 of them have died, which is impressive considering it's a 50-foot drop to the bottom. Whether you believe the high numbers or not, no one can dispute the fact that a lot of dogs do jump to their deaths from this bridge, like that's not disputed. And to make things even stranger, there are reports of dogs jumping off this bridge and surviving, only to run back up and try it again. Of course, in the media this is referred to as the dogs committing suicide, but we can probably all agree that dogs don't necessarily have the capacity to commit suicide. The concept of suicide makes very little sense when we're referring to animals. It's likely that something is just luring them off the bridge before the dogs realise how tall it is. An article in The Independent features an interview with somebody who was walking her border collie, Bonnie, on Overtoun Bridge one day a few years ago, and she describes how Bonnie froze as they approached the bridge, but then she became possessed by this very strange energy before running and just jumping right off the parapet. Luckily, Bonnie was one of the lucky dogs who survived, but many people also say that even the most timid of dogs will lose their minds going over this bridge. The current tenant of Overton House, right next to the bridge, says that he and his wife have seen several dogs dive off this bridge since they moved into the property 17 years ago. His theory is that the dogs can smell the small animals in the gorge down below and they just go crazy. But surely there's a lot of bridges all around the world that have small animals living underneath them. Why is there a disproportionate number of dogs trying to jump from this bridge in particular? The local residents are very split in their opinions about what's going on with this bridge. Is there a simple explanation? Is it just the animals down below sending the dogs wild? Or is there a more supernatural answer? Scotland is well known to be a place of superstition, monsters and myths. It's got a dark history, and the Overton grounds are more spiritual than other parts of the country apparently. Locals will have grown up hearing stories of the White Lady of Overton, a ghost. The manor and the bridge were built by a wealthy industrialist of the 19th century called James White. He had a son, John White, who would go on to marry. The White Lady of Overton is said to be the ghost of the grieving widow of John White. I couldn't find out her actual name. She lived alone in grief for more than 30 years after her husband died in 1908, and residents believe that her ghost has been lurking around ever since. She's apparently been spotted in the windows of the manor and walking around on the grounds on more than one occasion. So many people report seeing her. So is it the White Lady of Overton driving the dogs to these deaths? A lot of people do believe that animals have a sixth sense, that they can see supernatural spirits unlike humans can. So a lot of people do believe that this is actually the case here. And the White Lady isn't the only spirit said to be hanging around this area. Tragically, in October 1994, a 32-year-old man called Kevin Moy threw his 2-week-old son Owen to his death from the bridge because he believed that his son was the incarnation of the devil. He believed that he was the Antichrist and that his son was Satan, and he thought that the devil had put a birthmark on his son's head and that him and his son were to blame for the Gulf War. He wasn't a healthy guy. He also feared that they were going to destroy the world by infecting mankind with a virus, and that the only way to save the world was by killing both his son and himself. So one day he's out for a walk with his wife and he drops the baby. He just picks up the baby and drops it over the side of the bridge. He's taken to nearby Overton House where he grabbed a kitchen knife and tried to slash his wrist, but he failed and was arrested. He was found eventually not guilty of the murder by reason of insanity, of course, and was sent to hospital indefinitely. A really, really tragic tale, but I think we can probably all agree that he was clearly not in his right mind at the time. Some say that this negative spirit still hangs around the bridge, affecting the animals disproportionately. But this didn't happen until October 1994, and animals have been jumping from the bridge since the 50s and 60s. So it's probably not the cause, just another tragic tale of the Overton Bridge. Other theories include that depressed owners are passing their own suicidal urges onto their dogs, which is probably unlikely. That local pylons are sending the dogs haywire. I mean, could be the case, but why does that only happen there? And even that there are noises emanating from the nearby nuclear base that only dogs can hear, which I suppose is quite plausible. The biggest theory though is one that was put forward by an animal behaviourist called Dr. David Sands back in 2006. I'm really sorry if you can hear like children screaming in this video, by the way. My neighbour's children are outside and that's fine. Whatever, they're locked inside all day, it's quarantine, but they're so loud, they scream all the time and they don't ever seem to go inside. So please excuse it if you can hear children screaming. I can't do anything about it, obviously. So David Sands noted that back in the 1950s, mink started breeding in Scotland in large numbers. The animal had been introduced to the country about 30 years earlier, and this was about the right time for them to start breeding in huge numbers. He also noticed that most of the dogs that tended to jump were these long-nosed types with these keen scent-tracking skills. The theory goes that the small animals in the foliage down below, particularly minks, and the urine from the male minks, is a very attractive scent to dogs. And due to the dogs' lowered point of views, like being close to the ground, and the high foliage all around the bridge, it makes the area appear to be just one even plane to a dog. They jump up on the wall, not realising it's tapered, and they just fall. When someone from the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds and Wildlife investigated this bridge further, they said that the end of the bridge that dogs favoured contained many nests of mice, squirrels and minks. An experiment with 10 dogs said that on a field prepared with canisters containing mouse, squirrel and mink scent, only 1 dog went to the squirrel scent, 2 stayed to play with their owners, and the remaining 7 dogs all went straight for the mink scent, some of them really quite dramatically, showing that they really are attracted to this smell. And the theory that it's all about the scents down below is backed up by the fact that most of the deaths have occurred on sunny, dry days when this scent would be the strongest. So what explanation do you find to be most plausible here? I personally don't think this is much of a mystery anymore. I think it is just a case of the dogs going mad for the scent down below. They jump up on the side of the bridge, not realising that it's tapered and it's slidey, and they just fall straight down. I mean, it's probably not ghosts because I don't really believe in that kind of stuff, but if you do believe in that kind of stuff, then I would be intrigued to hear your point of view. My advice is if you ever find yourself near Overtoun Bridge in Scotland with a dog, just keep them on their leash. Although many owners report their dogs literally ran and jumped with such force that it ripped the leash out of their hands, so maybe just keep your dogs away entirely. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit of a shorter story. It's just an interesting mystery, or probably not so much of a mystery anymore. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this. Make sure you go and check them out in the description box down below. This really is the best time for you to learn something new. This is probably the only time in our lives when most of us have an excuse to literally sit around doing nothing all day. We are saving the world by staying in our houses. So have a look at Skillshare, learn something. I hope you're all staying really, really safe. Thank you so much to all the key workers out there. You're doing a great job. Well done. And I'm gonna go. Thank you so much. Bye guys.